Hello again. I still keep getting asked, how do I get electric on the allotment plot? People asking nearly all the time. 3 years ago I did a video explaining how it's done with a battery and inverter. These days I do it differently from a mobility scooter, but I wouldn't discuss that at the moment, and you need expert advice. So the simplest way to do it, if you want low wattage down here on the allotment, is an inverter and a battery. So I'll run that video again I made 3 years ago, which incidentally has had over 500 views. I don't know who they all are because a lot of people still ask me down here. So watch the video, and if you want to get electric on your plot, low wattage, this is the way to do it. Hello and welcome to this little technical video. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I've lost track of how many times people have asked me, have we got electricity on the allotments? Because people see me plugging into this little box here behind me. I plug my lawnmower in there, and so they assume we've got electricity. But no, there is no electricity on the allotments, and also I don't use a generator. How I get electricity down here is through what's called an inverter. So I shall explain that in just a moment. Okay, so what you need to get electricity down here on the allotment is an inverter. This is an inverter, 350 watts to about 1,000 watts, I believe they are. I don't think you can get much above 1,000. A lot depends on what you're going to use. Now my lawnmower is 350 watts, so obviously a 600 watt inverter is ample. An heavy duty car battery, you can run them off your car battery itself, but I don't suggest you do that because you can quite easily flatten the car battery, as I've done myself twice down here in the early days. So I always bring a charged battery down with me and the inverter. And the inverter connects onto the car battery with the two leads. There's a 13 amp socket which I've fed into a cable here, which you could use anywhere on the allotment. And as long as you don't exceed the wattage of the inverter, then everything hums along quite nicely. And usually I can cut all the grass down here, and I've got various, sometimes in the winter, lights on in the shed, different other devices, low wattage of course, and this stands up quite nicely. So I couldn't give you a price for this. Heavy duty battery are not cheap. Inverters, I can't even remember how much cost, but I think the whole lot is cheaper than buying a good quality generator. So it's really a question of working out what you're going to use and what the wattage is going to be. If it doesn't exceed the inverter you've got, you're fine. Okay, well, just for convenience, I have my battery in here, as you can see, connected to the inverter, and then the inverter, the electricity from the inverter goes into this switch panel here that you can see, and I've got a double power point there. I've got a switch to the light. I've got several power points in my main shed, and then of course a cable runs underground down to the box where you see, or where people see me plug the mower in. So that's it. I hope now everybody can understand when they see me plug electric mower into a box down there, and I've got electric. It would be handy if there was electric laid on down here on the allotments, would be wonderful, but there isn't. So it's either a generator or this sort of setup that you've just seen here.